What is going on, everybody? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, coming at you guys. And I got a special guest, the biggest Miami Dolphins content creator, TD Phins Talk. Tony, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming on to my channel, man, to talk Seahawks versus Dolphins, Week 4 from South Beach in Miami, Florida. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this stream, man. Listen, man, this week I'm ready for it. Are the Seahawks ready? That's the real question.
I think, I'm ready for it big time, man. I think Russell's going to come out cooking and everything. But first, talk about your guys' strengths and what you think is going to factor into this game and for certain injuries and what may come back to bite you guys if you don't do anything to try to stop Russell or, try to, get past our little banged up secondary with, Quentin Dunbar being hurt and then, of course, the Jamal Adams injury on our side. So let's go through your first keys to how you think you can do to try and beat us. So, and take us through your team.
Well, first off, I think that one of our biggest strengths is our receiving core. It's a whole bunch of guys that a lot of people don't know much about. They know who Devontae Parker is. He had a heck of a season last year. He's picking up where he left off this year. Only 5 targets last week, but he caught all 5 receptions. I look for him to be a major part of this game. We also have the second-year player Preston Williams, who was actually having a better season than Devontae last year until he went down with an ACL. He's picking up where he left off, catching touchdowns in the end zone, still making a few rookie mistakes, but he's very explosive. Not to mention a whole bunch of guys we have on this team like Jakeem Grant, who's the speedster, one of the fastest guys in the league. We got Matt Breida coming out of the backfield who can also catch the ball.
And Isaiah Frisco. I remember when Breida was with San Fran.
Yep, oh my gosh, I just had a quick skip. Mike Gesicki, that's probably going to be the biggest target this week, the tight end going across the middle of the field, especially if you're without Jamal Adams. That's probably going to be a huge opportunity. I believe 2 weeks ago, he put up about $140 against the Buffalo Bills. Last week he had a touchdown as well. So he's been coming on and just getting better and better. I think our biggest strength is attacking the Seahawks secondary because we can do that. With Ryan Fitzpatrick, if we get him the right protection, we can do that. And our protection has been phenomenal. It's something that Dolphin fans haven't been used to for 20 years. Great protection for the quarterback. This is the best protection we've had in a very long time. So that's what makes us feel good about this game, even if it's a shootout, because we can protect our quarterback and we can also deliver to our receivers. And what doesn't make it any better are the injuries that the Seahawks have in the secondary.
Yeah,
that's our biggest thing that we're holding on to.
Yeah, and basically coming in with our linebackers, we had our first-round rookie Jordan Brooks go down with an injury too, and that means we're going to be seeing a lot of Cody Barton. And Cody Barton for our linebackers, he actually did pretty decent last year on tight end coverage last year. So I'm anxious to see if Cody Barton can, see how much he's improved coming off of his, rookie year last year, going into year number 2 out of Utah since we drafted him. But then again, we got to talk about another familiar face that I'm quite familiar with from his college days at the University of Washington in the running game, and I've mentioned it to you on your live stream. Talk about Myles Gaskins and what he brings to the table and how you feel about Myles Gaskins on your team.
Listen, I'll try to keep this quick, but I gotta walk you through it, okay? Last year he was just overlooked. He's a rookie, you don't get that type of shine. This year, who we thought our premier back was gonna be, we end up releasing Kalen Ballage. And we also traded for Matt Breida in the draft, and we brought in Jordan Howard. Everybody, there was not a single person who wouldn't have told you that Jordan Howard and Matt Breida wouldn't have been the starting back, and whoever wasn't will be the backup. And then Myles Gaskins and Patrick Laird would be fighting for that third RB position, 3rd and 4th. And I tell you, there were a few Dolphin fans that would hit me up and say, TD, watch Myles Gaskins steal the starting role. And shockingly enough, he is our premier back in Miami. Every single week so far, he has been productive. He is just a small guy, one of the smallest guys in the league, one of the youngest guys in the league, but he bounces off of tackles. I'm shocked at how he can actually break a tackle being so small. I mean, 4 wrap-ups and breaking the tackle. This kid is explosive. He's so small that you give him the smallest hole, he finds his way through it. He's averaging over 4 yards a carry, and he keeps the sticks moving.
Yeah.
First down. Yeah.
It's kind of like what Chris Carson's been able to do, but there might be a chance we may not have him. But obviously, Seahawks fans living in Washington have been quite familiar with Myles Gaskins for a while since he did play collegiately at the University of Washington. And then, of course, what kind of plays do you think Brian Flores will dial up on the defense, knowing that he's coming off of the Bill Belichick coaching tree since he came down to Miami off of that coaching tree through Bill Belichick, and you got Kyle Van Noy on that defense, and then of course you got Byron Murphy, the cornerback from
Byron Jones.
Byron Jones, yeah, I keep messing that up. My bad. So Byron Jones coming off from Dallas, and then Xavier Howard, right?
Yes, those guys are just a great secondary. But you're asking me what type of defensive schemes we'll run. Let me say this. It all depends on if Byron Jones plays or not. He's had 2 weeks now. And I believe he's had almost 2.5 weeks now. So he should be a go. It's not 100% guaranteed. But if he is a go, look for us to play man-to-man, bump and run, and attacking Russell Wilson every chance we get, because we have the type of corners that will stick with DK Metcalf. We have the type of corners that will stick with Lockett. We have the nickel that can stick with whoever you want to put in the slot. I know you all have great receivers, but we have the corners that can actually match up with them. We spent the most money on the secondary than any team in the NFL. Pro Bowl Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, the number 1 rated cover corner as far as distance away from the offensive player in the NFL. We brought these guys in to do this. We can make the day harder for Russell Wilson. Will we stop him? No way. But we can make the day harder. But if Byron Jones does not play and they give him another week, we're going to play cushion coverage, deep deep safeties. And I think Russell Wilson will just pick us apart with the quick 7-yard passes all day. So that's where we are with that. Is Byron playing or not? That is going to be where it lands for us.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, I got to talk about another big-time weapon. And like I said, I think he's a very underrated tight end, and he deserves to get the props he deserves. So I think he's arguably looking like he's one of the best tight ends in the league right now, too. Very underrated. We got to talk about Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, I mean, he's been making plays for a while. I mean, even, from scoring the game-winning touchdown to when you guys affected the entire AFC playoff picture last year. I mean, how much will you guys try to utilize Mike Gesicki with our injury to Jamal Adams and the other injuries we have on our defense? Because, I mean, I think you guys are going to get a lot of use on Mike Gesicki in this game to try and beat us.
Here's how Mike Gesicki game goes. So if you all are shutting down our receivers across the board, Mike Gesicki will have a huge day, because Ryan Fitzpatrick, even if Gesicki is guarded, will throw up the 50-50 ball. And I don't care who's defending him in the NFL. I feel good about the odds of Mike Gesicki coming down with the ball in his hand. This kid is just special, man. And that's the thing. It's just a matter of, if our receivers are eating, he's not really active in the game because everybody's getting fed and he's being a decoy. If they're not eating, then the 50-50 balls come, and that's where he thrives. He will catch it in good coverage. He's a hands guy. He's not a chest catcher or anything like that. If the ball is there, he will go get it with his hands swiping at him, pulling him down. He will not let it go. And he's just been phenomenal for us so far this year, and I'm really interested in seeing how this is going to play out with Seattle's defense. I think he has a huge day. I think he really.
I kind of expect him to have a big day too with some of the injuries, though, like I keep mentioning. But also, I mean, you do know you're going to have to try and shut down Carlos Hyde, and then maybe possibly I'm hoping for a debut of a former U running back that we drafted this year. And I know we have Travis Homer, who we drafted from the U. You're familiar with the U, right? Miami?
Yes, absolutely.
What can you tell me about what we may possibly be getting with DJ Dallas, who we drafted? Because I heard he was the best blocking running back in the league when we drafted him. I mean, what are my Seahawks going to get out of DJ Dallas when he's given the right opportunities? You know, I really want to see him play, especially coming back to the stadium where he played college along with Travis Homer.
Well, the issue is going to be, is your O-line going to be able to create lanes for him? You know, he can get explosive in the open field and make plays. It's just a matter of, are they going to be able to create opportunities for him? Listen, the problem is some guys are, in my opinion, rhythm guys. Rhythm guys. So if you're just airing it out, then that's where the problem may come, you know? So Russell Wilson has been unleashed this year. So, I mean, you have to tell me, because maybe I'm off on this, but what has been your pass versus rush ratio?
Well, I mean, we always were a running team, and we've basically – I mean, I think 2018 was one of our best years for running, other than last year when we lost our running backs for Rashad Penny and Chris Carson to those injuries, and obviously had to bring Marshawn Lynch out of retirement, which we saw what he did against Frisco, and then in the playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles had a little juice left. But it's just, we got to be able to just, you know, more fans wanted us, when we can't get the run game going, to rely more on the passing game, which is why we wanted to go with the mantra of letting Russell cook and getting more time in the pocket to throw to DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. But one of the other things I hope to see from DJ Dallas, because we had a running back named CJ Prosise who was injury prone, and then DJ Dallas can also catch coming out of the backfield too. Which is why I thought he could be the replacement to Prosise. But going back to the Dolphins side, talk about your defense. Kyle Van Noy, the addition of Kyle Van Noy from the Patriots, and then your other big-time pass rushers who we may have to be looking out for in order, you know, to try to prevent, you know, Russell from taking too many sacks, or how you're going to get in the backfield with, you know, your pass rush. Like, who are the monsters to look out for?
Kyle Van Noy, a lot of people don't realize, is the number one rated linebacker in the NFL right now. PFF, okay? Number one grade in the NFL. Over a 90. I believe it's like 94.1 or something like that. He's been all over the field. He's been in pass coverage. He's been in pass rush. Has like the top amount of rushes in the NFL for a quarterback. He's been blowing up running backs trying to block him. I mean, there's some plays where you don't even think the running back is going to be able to get up off the ground. I mean, it's been quite crazy, but we have them all. We have so many linebackers, man, good ones. Andrew Van Ginkel, you know, Kruger Hill. These are guys that people don't know about, and they don't play more than 50% of the game. They're like 30% snap guys out of the whole game, but when they're in the game, they make plays. And that's what it's designed for, you know, spurt of the moment. Hey, we got this 2nd and 9. Let's go ahead and put pressure and get to them right now. Make it a 3rd and 9, and they get there, or it ends up being a 3rd and 15 from the sack. Jerome Baker has come on at the linebacker position. That's one position where we, outside of Van Noy, we don't have superstars, but we don't have slouches. We got a whole bunch of guys that get the job done collectively. And it's not a fall off, if that makes sense. And you said, where do you have to worry about it coming from? I can't even tell you, because it comes in so many different ways with Miami. It's Flores' defense, that mind of his on defense. You've seen the Patriots-Seattle battles, and that was Flores calling those games in the last few years.
Flores, Belichick taught Flores well. That's all I can say is Belichick taught Flores well.
And we have to get better. We have to get better because Flores is the head coach now. Yeah. He's not the defensive coordinator. Flores is working on getting the defensive coordinator better and better. So you may not see the full impact of Flores, but it's starting to get there. Last game was a showing of that because we got at Minshew. Everybody was raving about how well Minshew was playing, and we shut that down.
And, like I mentioned, I'm familiar with Minshew because he went to Washington State, the other school
Yeah.
across the state of Washington, And that mustache madness went all the way from Pullman over to Jacksonville. But like I said,
Wow.
the beard of Ryan Fitzpatrick was too much for Minshew's stash. It's like the funny thing I like to make up. And like I said, I mentioned it with my buddy Dallas. If you guys seen the Game Picks video already, but also let's also talk about your receiver core too, and Devontae Parker. And Devontae Parker to me is the more notable receiver that we need to try and shut down. And because Devontae Parker's got speed and he's got really good hands too. From what I've noticed every time I've seen a Miami Dolphins game in these past few years, is Devontae Parker is the notable.
I'm going to be honest with you, okay? Devontae Parker is the fastest receiver in the league, but he's not slow either. He's not DK. DK is very good, but DK is not the biggest burner, okay? But Devontae, I don't know how you stop him when he's healthy. If you give him cushion, he is killing you all day on the comeback routes, the in routes, the out routes, the crossing routes. I mean, he's killing you all day. If you play him bump and run, even if you're sticking with them man for man, Fitzpatrick throws it up, he's a high leaper. He ate Gilmore up last year for 160 and 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken.
And that was the game where you guys changed the whole layout of the playoffs.
By beating the Patriots. That was Devontae Parker put up, I believe it was somewhere around like $150, $160 and 2 TDs or something. So you pick your poison. You got to have a safety sitting over the top to help because he's going to try to eat underneath all day. And if you play him bump and run to try to take away the underneath, you require the safety over the top. But that's why Mike Gesicki has a big day.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have safety help on Parker, and they'll probably line him up on the same side, which is going to help Gesicki.
And that's what's going to that's why Quandre Diggs is going to have a big day on our secondary if Jamal Adams isn't in there. And obviously, it sucked losing Marquise Blair to that torn ACL. But if Jamal Adams doesn't play, then it could possibly be a long day, depending on what Miami Dolphins team we get, either Fitzmagic or Fitztragic, as we mentioned earlier.
Very true.
But something else too is that, it's like, I'm trying to think about what else we mentioned. Did we get most of the things that we needed to get done, or do we still got a little bit more to talk about too? Because obviously, man, I'm trying to think about some of the other needs, because I think with our run offense too, hopefully we have Damian Lewis, our rookie out of LSU, back on our offensive line since he got a little dinged up, which would possibly affect how much we run the ball against you guys with either Hyde, DJ Dallas, or Travis Homer for that matter too. So
you're gonna have to make a conscious effort to run the ball against us.
Yeah.
I don't know how well you'll do because the jury's still out on our run defense. But you're going to have to make a conscious effort. One thing that I love that Seattle does, they love running those 7-man offensive lines and at times even 8-man offensive lines. And they play action out of that and only run 2 routes deep down the field, or a crossing route and a go route, or either side. Screen pass.
We thrived off of some screen passes in the past few weeks, especially with Chris Carson when he scored twice on those in Atlanta. And then, of course, the over-the-shoulder fade, which, man, I was surprised that we decided to hit Carson on an over-the-shoulder fade pass against the Patriots, which ended up being the winning touchdown before we let New England kind of get back in it before stuffing them at the run. And then we got LJ Collier, our run defense. One of the biggest concerns, obviously, I mentioned for us is our secondary, but our run defense has been pretty freaking good at stopping the run. I mean, we held Zeke under 100 yards last week, and then we were able to get a few sacks and a strip fumble with Benson Mayowa and Jaron Reed forcing it. You guys are going to have to worry a lot about Jaron Reed, Benson Mayowa, and then, of course, you got our rookie Alton Robinson and LJ Collier, who's really coming on in year number 2, who we drafted out of TCU. So those are your biggest worries for your offensive line going up against the Seahawks pass rush.
Well, you all may want to realize this about our offense when it comes to the running game. If Miles Gaskins has 60 yards, that's a success.
Yep.
See, he's not going out there to give you a 100 yards. He's going out there to move the chains.
Yeah.
So whenever we do run the ball, all we want is four at a time. And if we get 5 or 6 or 7, that's a plus. Because when we're in 2nd and 3 and we pick up the first running, that's all we care about. It's so holding our guy under 100 yards, it doesn't matter. You got to hold him under 40 to have success against our run game. Why? Because Ryan Fitzpatrick is also going to run the ball.
Exactly.
And he's probably going to put up 50 yards rushing as well.
Yeah,
so we're not looking for our running back to be the guy that has 100. We just need about 50 to 60 from him.
And it's kind of like with us, too, with the way we run. We try to get those big chunk plays, and if we get extra with the big holes, like with Carson. But like we said, you might be seeing Carlos Hyde and DJ Dallas this week, depending on if Carson's able to go, which I don't know if Carson's going to be able to go. But our running style is kind of the same. Other than that, it's been 21 minutes we've been going by. Did we get everything out all right?
Yeah, I would love to see DJ Dallas. I would love to see him.
I want to see him
how
too.
He does on this level.
And I want to see how Myles Gaskins does against our run defense, considering how familiar we were with him when he was at Washington.
And maybe they switch it up.
With Breida and Howard.
Maybe this game doesn't call for him, even though he's earned the job to be the starter. We're going to find out on Sunday, 1 p.m., coming down to hot Miami.
And 10 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. Seattle time.
I'm jealous of that, by the way. You all get to wake up and bam, football, breakfast football. We usually have to wait till 1 here, but that's all good, man.
Mm-hmm. And, man, and guys, if you don't know this guy, this is the biggest content creator for the Miami Dolphins. TD Phins Talk. Make sure you guys go sub up TD Phins Talk if you want good Miami Dolphins content or good football content in general. I'm trying to give everybody too, but TD is one of the best in the business when it comes to his Miami Dolphins and football in general. So make sure y'all go sub him up, man, and let's keep his numbers going up.
Likewise.
And also, if you're new to my channel, make sure you sub up, ring the bell for notifications, give your thoughts in the comments on this game, and that's basically all I got to say. TD Phins.
All right.
Thank you for coming on here. Sam Dog Infamous 253, TD Phins Talk signing off. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. And as always, go Seahawks. But yep, it's going to be a fun game. Thank you, everybody.